Join the conversation in Tipperary. Contact us through Facebook, Twitter, or email tiptoday@tipfm.com.
Time for this.
The Conspiracy Files on Tip Today.
Morning, Ellie.
Good morning.
Before we start with the Conspiracy Files, this is, well, it's a kind of almost as conspiratorial as everything else.
Well,
What's
it
happening?
is. But what's
Breaking news.
interesting is that the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew has been arrested this morning and is currently being held by police in the UK.
Wow.
A Thames Valley spokesman said this morning that officers are also searching addresses in Norfolk, which is believed to be where Andrew is currently exiled. Also an address in Berkshire, which is likely to be Royal Lodge in Windsor, where he lived for more than 20 years. The police force say he remains in police custody, but wouldn't confirm where he has been taken to. Coincidentally, today is also his 66th birthday. So not a nice birthday for him. He was arrested in Sandringham this morning, and it's in relation to, it's on suspicion of misconduct in public office. So this is to do with his conduct as a trade envoy for the UK. And emails, of course, were revealed in the Epstein files suggesting that he shared confidential information
So it's
with
that
Jeffrey
aspect.
Epstein.
It's that aspect of his relationship with
It's nothing to do
Epstein.
with trafficking. It's nothing to do with any of that. It's trade secrets, essentially, and sharing confidential information. That's what he's been arrested on this morning.
Right.
What's
Wow.
interesting about it, I mean, this all started as a conspiracy theory as well. I mean, back a few years ago, that Prince Andrew was involved in very salacious stuff, that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in salacious stuff, and everyone else who was as well. A lot of people didn't believe that, but of course, as we know now with the release of the Epstein files, a lot of what we were told was true.
And we still don't even know the full extent.
We still don't, and it puts things like Pizzagate into a whole new light as well. I mean, what really was going on? I think it's going to get a lot more darker the more we find out.
I think so, indeed. Let's go back to the conspiracy file for today, though, Ellie. It's missing persons again, isn't it?
It is, because we covered strange disappearances from people in Ireland. Many people will remember we did the O'Dwyer couple in Fermoy, that very unfortunate story. Trevor Deely in Dublin. We did Mary Boyle as well, who continues to be one of the longest, is the longest missing person case in Ireland. But further afield, there are a lot more missing, strange, mysterious missing people cases as well that really we don't have any answer for. I mean, one of the best known ones would be the Roanoke colony. So John White, the governor of Roanoke colony in Virginia, was where the first English child, his granddaughter Virginia Dare, was born in the Americas. Now, shortly after her birth on August 18th of 1587, White left Roanoke for England, intent on gathering supplies and getting additional support, but he would never see Virginia or any of the colonists again. By the time he returned, the entire colony had vanished. Not just the people, but every structure.
Good God.
So to this day, historians consider it one of the most famous unexplained vanishings. There is still no clear evidence, a lot of theories about what happened to Virginia and the rest of the colonists, but nobody seems to know for sure. There are all the theories that maybe it was disease that wiped them out. Maybe they were taken out by a tribe of Native Americans. Maybe they just simply moved on and weren't found. But to this day, nobody really knows what happened to the colony at Roanoke.
Wow. And there was nothing left of them at all.
Nothing. There was a couple of structures were left.
Yes.
But that was it. It also ties in as well with the village in Baltimore, if you're aware of that case as well. That was another village where it disappeared overnight. They were taken by a group, all the people, in a small village in Baltimore in Cork.
Right. And they weren't a cult? Or
they were trafficked to Africa as slaves. They later found out.
My God.
So a couple of ships came in the middle of the night.
Just took them.
Took them. There is a book written about it. It's called Mutiny in Baltimore, I think.
Right.
Great book about it, but a really under-reported Irish story. Hundreds of people, women and children, stolen
Taken
from
as
Baltimore
slaves.
and taken to Africa.
Isn't that incredible? Who else have you got for us, Annie?
So we've Owen Parfitt as well. This is another strange disappearance in England. The disappearance of Owen Parfitt from his sister's front porch in the English countryside. Now, it might not be the most famous of all the mysterious cases, but it's certainly one of the more puzzling. Because in the summer of 1763, Parfitt, who was paralysed and in his 60s, vanished while sitting outside. Now, farm workers across the road claim they saw nobody approach and nobody leave. One moment simply he was there and the next he was gone. So his story remains one of history's strangest unsolved disappearances as well. Obviously, he didn't have the mobility to be able to go himself. You would question why someone would kidnap somebody who was
disabled in that fashion,
and in need of, it's not someone you're going to get away straight or quickly.
Yeah.
There's another interesting case, Felix Ballinger. This was in the 50s. In 1953, 18-year-old Felix Ballinger vanished while hiking in the Grand Canyon. Now, despite extensive search efforts, no trace of him was ever found. His family was devastated, only 18 years of age, and he was assumed dead. But then in 1958, one day he just casually strolled into a diner hundreds of miles away, looking exactly as he had that 5 years earlier. Now, Felix had no memory of where he had been or what had happened during those lost years. And strangely, he appeared physically unchanged, as if no time had passed at all. Now, his sudden reappearance and lack of ageing raised suspicions of time anomalies, also secret captivity or memory loss due to some physical or psychological trauma. But before authorities could investigate further, he disappeared once again. So it left behind a very eerie mystery that remains unsolved.
Incredible. But when he turned up, he was wearing the same clothing.
The same clothes, hadn't aged at all, and had no idea that he had been looked for 5 years, and then disappeared again.
Bobby Dunbar.
Bobby Dunbar is another strange case. He was just 4 years old when he went missing in 1912 on a family outing in Louisiana in the US. This is an absolutely incredible story. Here are the details of Bobby.
On August 23, 1912, 4-year-old Bobby Dunbar disappeared while on a family holiday in Louisiana. The police began a statewide manhunt for the boy. They caught and dissected alligators and threw dynamite into the lake, thinking that the blast might dislodge the child's body. Bobby appeared to have vanished into thin air until he was discovered 8 months later, alive and well, in the care of William Walters. Despite his vehement protests that the child was his nephew Bruce, Walters was found guilty of kidnapping. Leslie Dunbar positively identified moles and scars on his body, confirming he was her son. The police then allowed the Dunbars to take Bobby back to their home. William Walters was tried and convicted of child abduction and sentenced to life in prison, but he only served 2 years. However, in 2004, DNA tests proved that the boy who was rescued from Walters was not Bobby Dunbar and was in all probability the nephew that Walters had claimed. As for the real Bobby Dunbar, his fate remains unknown.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's loosely based on an Angelina Jolie film she produced and starred in it called The Changeling, where it gave the story of this, where the woman was told by police, "We found your son, here he is," and she maintained for her whole life it wasn't really her son.
But the poor man who was put away.
I know. Yeah, for nothing. And it was his nephew that he was looking after. Wasn't treating him very well, but it's like he didn't kidnap him.
Danny Philippidis?
Danny Philippidis is a very strange case, and relatively recent, because in 2018, Danny was skiing with friends at Lake Placid in New York. Now, his trip was drawing to a close when he realised he'd forgotten to bring a camera to the lodge where he was unwinding with friends. This was about halfway up Whiteface Mountain. Now, he told friends that he'd ski down to the car, he'd get his phone and return to document the end of their trip. So that quest, though, led to a baffling journey that the 50-year-old fire captain will likely never be able to fully remember. He disappeared on his way either to or back from the car. And his disappearance triggered massive ground searches that involved state authorities, family and friends. 6 days after he was reported missing, his wife got a call from her husband to say that he was okay, but he didn't know where he was. He later found out that he was in Sacramento, California, which is 4,000 kilometres away from where he last went missing. Now, he was a veteran firefighter at the time. He couldn't account for where he'd been, and he was completely mystified. He had very vague memories of being a passenger in a truck, and he even got a haircut during the time that he was gone, but couldn't remember getting it. Now, doctors believe that he suffered some kind of head injury and had amnesia as a result of that. Here he is speaking shortly afterwards.
I'm still shocked. I'm back to work. I feel great. But, you forget about it for a few days, and then someone or something jogs your memory, and then you think back at it, and it's still overwhelmingly shocking to that it happened. It was somewhat determined that I was probably on the kids' hill. I must have made a wrong turn, but somehow that's where I was. I wasn't in a high-level mountain area, or I was pretty well near the bottom of the hill. I didn't make it to the main lodge because I think I headed towards the car, which is adjacent to the lodge. And then with my vehicle not there, it really got a little overwhelming. And I think that's when I'm assuming, I hailed or, put my arm up or something like that just to hail a ride back into town. It was a truck.
Okay. Like a transport?
Like a transport. Okay. And I don't know if I said anything. I don't really recall having, I'm just assuming that I hailed a ride, and I'm not certain if I said anything, but I would assume that I must have said, didn't get a ride or something. The doctor says, I think you had a severe head injury, and it was temporary, and everything's going to be normal for you moving forward.
Incredible story. Natasha Ryan.
Yeah,
though,
because what's interesting about Natasha is she chose to go missing. With someone like Danny, he more than likely suffered some kind of head injury and had amnesia as a result of it. But Australian teenager Natasha Ryan was presumed dead after a suspected serial killer confessed to murdering her. Now, as a result of that, her family, of course, mourned her loss. Police have even held a trial for the accused, but during the proceedings, authorities received an anonymous tip that Natasha was alive. Investigators, though, were sceptical, but after following the lead, they actually found Natasha alive and well, hiding in her boyfriend's wardrobe. So she'd willingly run away and chosen to stay hidden for years. But by doing so was watching her family suffer and the nation mourning her death. So when she was found, the revelation stunned the country and her actions left her family absolutely shattered. That case remains one of the most bizarre missing person cases in Australian history. And it demonstrates as well how personal choice can often create widespread shock and confusion.
Well, that's for sure. I think we have time for just one more, Ali. Stephen?
Stephen Kubacki is an interesting one. He's went missing in 1978. He woke up in a field 15 months later, stating that he'd no idea where he was. He was wearing unfamiliar clothes and possessed no memory of what had happened. But over the years, he gave an interview where he said he willingly went missing himself and was able to travel between different time periods and parallel universes. And that's where he went. So you could say there was some form of delusion or maybe psychiatric illness in that. But what's a strange one is people will often go missing in isolation, so they will often be by themselves and there are no witnesses. But if we look at the story of Corporal Armando Valdez, which is the last clip you have, it's a very strange story because his disappearance was witnessed by over a dozen people. Here's the story.
In the eerie night of April 25th, 1977, Chilean Corporal Armando Valdez stood guard with his troop in the Andes Mountains when suddenly an inexplicable light hovered in the sky. As the light grew closer, Valdez vanished before everyone's eyes, leaving his comrades bewildered. 5 days later, he returned, staggering out of the looming darkness, disoriented and aged beyond his years. His beard had mysteriously grown 5 days' worth, and the time on his watch was inexplicably advanced. Valdez recounted that he had no memory of what transpired, except for hearing harrowing voices echoing, "You will know me and won't recognize me." To this day, what happened during those 5 days remains one of the most enduring enigmas, leaving many to question what truly lurks beyond our understanding.
Incredible stuff.
There you go. So nobody knows what happened for Corporal Valdez, even though over a dozen people saw him disappear and came back, obviously aged.
Isn't it incredible altogether? You're leaving us, Ali.
I am, Fran.
You're leaving us. You're going away from us.
Well, I don't like to make a big deal of things, but look, I've come and gone before. Our paths will meet again, I'm sure. It's just, time to move on. Pastures new.
We're going to miss you desperately. I mean,
I'll miss you too.
Working so close with you over the years, and so many stories and so many conspiracies and so much.
And I'll miss the out and about reporting as well. I loved meeting, but I met some amazing people.
Was that your favourite thing to do?
It was.
Yeah.
You'll know now as much as I give out about the village tour at the time, thinking, how are we going to do it? But I look back on that, and with John G, it was probably my proudest thing I've done. We met the most amazing people, and we had a great time.
Brilliant altogether. Well, we're going to miss you desperately, and thanks for all the wonderful. How many years was it, Ellie?
Altogether?
Yeah.
Over between in and I left a couple of times and I came back. 25 years.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Altogether.
Lord.
Flew.
There you go.
Absolutely flew.
Well, as I say, thanks for everything, Ellie.
Thank
We're
you.
going to miss you desperately altogether.
We'll have a hug
Thank
after
you.
this, right?
Indeed.
Okay.
And
And a
another
cry.
awkward hug. like you
back.
had with Andrew. Thanks, Ellie.
Thanks,
Take care
Fran.
of yourself. News and information is coming up.
Tip FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage, puck on. It's time to change. Test drive the award-winning range of Peugeot hybrids and fully electric vehicles at Slattery's Garage today. See slatterysgarage.ie.